an idea is. It all begins with an idea, problem identification, stages of digital product development, and every other thing. I can share you the slides after I finish speaking. If you are interested, just let me know. So quick one about me. I'm a product manager working for a B2B HR tech organization. I focus on payroll processing, output, and reporting in around 80 countries. Um, so basically, our services are used in all the continents in the world, Africa, Europe, North America, etc. Basically. And I'm dealing with stuff like payslips, tax documents, distributions, payroll processing, etc. Before now, I worked at Anton, which is a B2B white label group payments startup in London. My journey into product management started about 4 years ago. So currently in my fifth year of product management. Outside work, I enjoy playing football and listening to Afrobeats. So let's start like this. How many of us know this logo? I believe everyone is Gen Z enough, or so we should be able to identify this logo. Yeah, you can put it in the chat box and let me see. Yeah, it's Netflix. Um, how many of us know this? I guess we are also like very, very up to date, or we we are probably like about 20 years here, so we probably are familiar with this also. So this is compact disc or CDs, which we used to have. I remember all those times in Lagos where we go to the markets to buy all these discs and then use them or watch them on our TV. Also, how many of us remember this? The video cassettes. Uh, I feel quite old. Well, I remember when we used to like have this and we used to like watch this on our TV. And then the last thing, the movie theaters. So what this things actually have in common is that I went all the way back. So today we have Netflix, which everyone is actually very familiar with. And then we used to have CDs. We still have CDs these days, but it's not as common as or as prevalent as it used to be. And then we had video cassettes before we had compact discs. And then there was the era of movie theaters. Even in Nigeria, there was a time of movie theaters. If you probably like speak to your parents or something, or my parents, they used to actually like tell me about those times, even if it's not something I actively participated in. So when you build digital products, it's always beginning with an idea. So every product we know today start with an idea. For example, Netflix started with an idea. So the idea for Netflix, according to Reed Hastings, who is actually one of the founders of Netflix, said the idea began when Reed Hastings faced a problem, which is that he had to pay $40 late payment fee on a rental DVD. So one of the problems was that the DVD rentals they were very inconvenient for him, and we also know because we also use like others DVDs, others video cassettes and all, and we knew they were very inconvenient and punitive. And the second thing was that this problem sparked the idea for a subscription-based DVD rental services. As we know, the first iteration of Netflix, or the first Netflix that ever existed, is different from the Netflix we have today. So the next thing I would like to break down for you is to understand what really is a digital product and what is an idea. So a digital product is a technology-driven solution designed to solve a specific problem or solution for users, basically. So we understand that um, not only softwares are digital products, like even your MacBook, even your laptop, even your iPhone, even child deck you use to order food, every single thing that you actually use day to day to actually like solve a particular problem, as long as it's technology driven, is a digital product. So it's not always limited to software, although I work in software product management, but there are also people that work in hardware product management. And when we talk about idea, idea is just a thought or concept that is inspired by identifying the problem. So I think the key thing here is to understand that um, you don't get an idea for a digital product if there isn't any problem to solve. So problem identification is the genesis of idea generation or idea of digital products. So when we try to like build data products, the first stage, or it always starts with the problem, identifying the problem. So when it comes to Netflix, the problem was the inconvenience of DVD rentals and the late fees when you cannot return it in time because it's inconvenient because you actually have to go to the store and return the DVD back. And then from problem, you have an idea. So for example, for Netflix, the idea was the subscription-based model for DVD renters. And then from your idea, you have your digital products. The first iteration of Netflix, which I was talking about, which was actually like the DVD by mail platform that evolved into the streaming platform that we know today. So Netflix had a problem, or the founder of Netflix had this problem, and then addressed this problem by at first identifying this problem, and then the next step was actually like designing the digital solution that could actually like solve this problem. So when we think about digital product development, there are actually like three stages to it. So I like to bucket them into like the pre-development stage, which is actually like laying the foundation through the market research, competitor analysis, industry research, every single thing that you do as a product manager. So I want you to view product management. It is a profession, but also it is an art. So what I mean by it is that art is that product management is just not something that you have to do like step by step. It's something you can be a product manager without having the role of a product manager. The responsibility of a product manager it varies from company to company, but the end goal still remains the same. So the end goal is that you're trying to like build something that customers love and they're actually willing to wait to pay for. So the pre-development stage, which is where we lay the foundation for what you're trying to build. Then the development stage, which is actually we are building and launching the MVP. This involves a lot of steps, which I'm going to actually go through in later slides. And then the final stage, which is actually not the last stage, but it's the post-development stage, where we iterate on what we've built, and then we try to like scale it to like hundred thousands, millions, and hundreds of millions of users. I think one thing that is important to note at this particular stage is that the digital product development stage, even though it's like three steps, it doesn't mean that it ends at post development. So it's an iterative process and not a linear process. So what do I mean by this? You can start with your pre-development stage, doing market research, and then going into your development stage, trying to build the product and trying to validate it. And then you see there's a problem with it, and you have to go back to your pre-development stage, doing more market research. So for a product manager, market research does not end and it does not stop. It's something that you continuously do, and it's something that you continuously develop in as your product actually like grows. So let's talk about the pre-development stage. That is laying the foundation for product management or product development, basically. The first step is the product identification. So as a product manager, you have to be very, very um, smart about identifying problems. Like there are a lot of problems that exist. So each solution that you see, a laptop, your phone, child deck, Flutterwave, Paystack, Mastercard, InterSwitch, MoneyPoints, everybody actually exists to solve a particular problem. So when you want to think as a product manager, you have to always look at the product and say, what problem is this solution solving, or what problem is this data product solving? For Netflix, which we're actually talking about right now, it was created to solve the problem of the late fees and the limited access and to digital the videos basically. So the next step, once you've identified this problem, is to go and do your market research. So when you're doing your market research, the questions you're going to be asking is asking the markets, not yourself. what you're going to be learning about is who are the people that experience this problem. So, for example, say who if you have a laptop now, you can say, or maybe like let's go to a time where there was no laptop. So you want to build something that actually like looks like a laptop, or even recall that before we had the laptop, we had this desktop computer that we used to use. So we had a desktop computer before we had the laptop. When we had a desktop computer, there was a problem that made people develop a laptop. And what was the problem? The problem was mobility issues. So, for example, um, a desktop was too big to carry around. It wasn't portable enough. Um, it required consistent power supply. You could not actually like use it as a battery powered device. So, for example, at that particular stage, the kind of people that are experiencing this problem are people that probably want to like work, people that want to be mobile while they work. So that's the particular customer segment you can look into, and that's the way to actually like think when it comes to like product management. Then the second thing you also have to like look into during your market research is that how do these people currently have their needs met? So for example, talking about the desktop computer, people were having their needs met with this desktop computer. So like it's not like a problem. The problem with that particular customer segment was that they were underserved. So for every digital product you're trying to build, or for every problem you've identified, you have to understand the people that are experiencing these problems and how they are currently like solving this problem. So sometimes like the alternatives for them to be solving this problem, it doesn't have to be digital. Um, when we talk about say InterSwitch, Paystack, Flutterwave, all these digital products in Africa that existed, the alternatives to them were not digital products at that time. You needed to actually like physically go into the markets to purchase your products. So basically, when these e-commerce solutions came in, or when Flutterwave or Paystack allowed you to be able to actually make payments online, they were solving this problem. So people were still like making purchases. People had alternatives to making payments. So it's either they go there physically to actually like make this payment, or they go through the bank and then go to the bank and then make your payments, and then um the money gets to that person in that other state or in that particular place. And when they see the alerts and then they say, "Oh, I've seen this alert," and they go with it. So these people have their needs met, but Flutterwave, Paystack, and everyone just felt like, "Oh, we could actually like solve this problem better." So sometimes you have to understand that the alternatives or the ways they are currently meeting their needs does not have to be digital. It can be physical, it can be traditional. The next step is the competitor analysis. And this is another thing like a product manager has to do when trying to build digital products. You have to analyze the current way that these needs are being met and then look for their weakness. For example, when it comes to like Netflix now, the weaknesses of the existing solution of the DVD that we had at that time was that they relied on brick and mortar stores. So, for example, you need to actually like look for a store that rents out DVD before you could actually like be able to access these things. But with Netflix now, you don't need to like go into any store. You can sit at the convenience of your home and then be able to watch it. It's the same thing with Paystack and Flutterwave and Mastercard, InterSwitch, everyone. That at a particular point, people needed to go into the bank to make payments. But today, you don't need to go into the bank. And again, so at that time, the weakness of the bank was that it required mobility. So it wasn't flexible. You had to plan your day and say, oh, I have to go to the bank to make payment today. Without that, you could not actually make payments. And one thing that does is that no flexibility, it cancels all the plan that you have made for that day. So SWOT analysis, which is a short form for like the strengths of your own idea or of your own solution, basically the strength of the existing solution, the weakness of your own solution, the weakness of the existing solution, the opportunity, looking at the opportunity and say, oh, what opportunity, how can I come into this particular space and then build something for them? And then the threats, what threats actually exist in this particular market for me? So these are the things that you need to actually like do as a product manager when you're trying to build like a digital solution. And the last part of it during the pre-development stage is the industry research. So people often confuse what industry research is with market research. When we're talking about market research, you're talking about the people that are going to be buying your product. But when we talk about the industry research, we're talking about the industry is much wider than the market in the sense that um, every single, almost every single digital product that we have today is reliant on the internet. The internet is not a competition to them, it's complementary to them. So basically, they are all IT businesses. So they all exist on the plane of the IT industry. So you actually have to look into the industry, which is actually very, very important when you're actually like trying to like analyze your solution or analyze your solution to the problem which you've identified. The next stage, which I'll talk about, is the development stage, which is actually once you've validated this idea and you're trying to like take it to or build this product which you have in your head. So the first thing at this particular stage is to build your team. So, for example, um, you have this idea, you need a team. We have something we call a product team, which is usually comprised of um, the software engineers, the designers. Some teams can have like data engineers, etc. So basically, you need a team to actually like build out this product. As a product manager, you understand what needs to be built, but you do not have the technical skill to be able to actually build this product. So you need to actually like have people around you or gather technical people around you that will help you to actually like build this product. And the next thing will be to create the MVP. So the MVP, which is a short form for the minimal viable products, is the smallest iteration of your product that solves the particular problem that you've identified. So, for example, for Netflix, um, they started the DVD rental by mail. That was like the first. It's very very simple something. Sometimes when people build MVPs, you don't have to like build like you don't have to like write a lot of code. Netflix started their own with like renting over emails. So they lead into the industry which they existed in. That is the internet technology. You know, like when the brick and mortar DVD existed, it wasn't reliant on the internet. But then they felt like, oh, if we actually like add the internet to what we are currently doing, we'll be able to actually um, do this solution or we'll be able to actually deliver this, solve this problem for this users better. So the first iteration of Netflix was actually to like launch by renting DVDs over emails before they actually started streaming. When you create this MVP, the next thing you have to do is to validate the idea. So the ways we validate this idea is by organizing user testing sessions, collecting surveys, feedbacks, let people use the product that you've built, and then let them give you feedback. So normally there's something we call beta testing, where you call your friends and family or call people in a particular demography that you know have this problem. So you first take this solution to them and then let them use it. So when they use it, they can tell you, "Oh, this thing is not good," or "This thing does not does not solve my problem totally." So you can collect this feedback and then use it to actually like improve on your product, and which is actually like the next step, iterating improvements. So for example, Netflix did a lot of these things, and how and what they got out of it was actually like uh improve their delivery, improve their websites, etc. etc. So basically it's iteration is very very important for product development and for product management basically. The next stage I'll be talking about is the post development stage. So please, if you have any questions, you can actually ask away, and as I progress basically. So at the post development stage, what you're trying to do is to actually continuously iterate on what you're actually currently building and then trying to scale it to more users. You know, when I spoke earlier, I said at this at the first stage, you are building, you're taking this thing to your friends and family, people around you. let them use this product, and then they can give you feedback on it. So the next stage is to continuously collect this feedback. There are things people will tell you. There are things people will not tell you. You also have to observe them, see the way they use your digital products, and then analyze this their behavior, and then use this analysis to also like refine their products. When you do this, you can start measuring success. So we measure success in different ways using different tools, like Amplitude, Otter, Google Analytics. And what we measure might be like the subscriber growth rate. So, for example, the first month that Netflix launched, say they had like 100 customers. The second month they had like 200. The third month they had like 300. So, like that's an 100% increase. And then um, a 150% increase month on month. So you need to actually like measure these things and then seeing what people like, seeing what people don't like, and being able to actually like use this to develop the product for them. The third thing I'm also going to talk about is something I've been mentioning is iteration. So, for example, a product, when you build that product, you have to continuously iterate. You have to continuously improve on that product. Netflix, which had actually like launched pre 2000, pivoted to streaming in 2007. So what this means is that they continuously were looking at what their customer segment needs and then trying to like improve their product to meet that need. So as of 2007, there has been like a lot of development, a lot of technology trends, internet trends, and they knew even the mail over DVD or the DVD over mail service was not sustainable any longer. So they needed to actually iterate and pivot into streaming and then turn to like the Netflix we know today. So as a product manager, you always need to actually develop digital products you know today. Every digital product you know today, is that Tesla, X, Facebook. You see WhatsApp. They tell you every single time that update your WhatsApp, update your Facebook, update your Twitter. It's because they continuously iterate, they continuously improve the product. There's a popular saying where they say that if you do not innovate or if you do not like iterate, basically, you die. And then once you are able to actually like iterate, the next thing is for you to scale. So, for example, you scale from your friends and family to the people in your church, from people in your church to people you don't know. Like your product actually like goes from friends and family to people over the internet that you don't know. So that's when you start getting to like your hundreds and thousands of downloads or of users that actually like use your products basically. So from this story that I've told now, it's a very complex story. I hope you guys are following. But I want to like break it down for you to know the lessons which we actually learn from this. And the first lesson I'll talk about is that when you want to build a digital product, you need to first, when you have an idea, you need to ask yourself, identify the problem your idea is about to solve. What problem is it? So you need to actually identify the problem. That's the first thing. Anytime you want to actually like build a product, when every single product that we know that is successful today wants to like what was being built, they always identify the problem. You always know, oh, we are building this product to solve this particular problem. The second thing is to actually like do your market research. It is very, very important. You cannot exhaust doing research as a product manager. You always need to actually identify your customers and design their persona. What kind of person they are they? What kind of demographic do they fall into? Like demography refers to like their age group, sometimes their sex, their location, like their geographical location. All this is actually very important for you to actually like build your product. Because, for example, the problem that exists for people that are trying to like use the internet in Nigeria is different from the problem uh, that people are actually trying to like solve in the UK, for example, or in the US. So you actually have to like go into your own market and see how how your idea solves that particular problem for the particular markets which you're actually trying to build for. The third thing is to actually like build your MVP. So building your MVP actually like involves creating alignments with your team members, uh, working with your software engineers to build your iterations of the product. And the next step is to validate your idea. So the way you validate your idea is going back to those customers which you have identified in your step two, and then letting them use that product and saying if that product or that digital product solves their problem for them. And the fifth thing, which cannot be exhaustive, is iterate. Continuously iterate. Always look for opportunities to actually like improve your product. And the sixth thing, which is very, very important, is to measure your success. So what does success mean to you? Is it when you get to 100,000 people who subscribe on your Netflix? If your product is Netflix, you have 100,000 people that subscribe every month? Is it your subscription that you use to measure your success? Is it the number of hours that is spent on your platform watching those videos that define success for you? And also, let me say this: success changes as your product changes. So Netflix, and at the time they were doing the rent over mail, the DVD rental over mail, their success is probably like the number of DVD rentals which they do per day or per month or per week, basically. And they measure this thing over 6 months, over 1 year, over 2 years, actually like measure their growth. But when they pivoted to the streaming services, it becomes the number of hours watched. So, for example, they can say, "Oh, in Nigeria, what's how many hours do people spend on Netflix watching a movie?" So that's one of the ways which they actually like measure success. So this is a high level overview of how you take a product idea from ideation stage to the market or turning into digital products which people actually use. Um, if you want to like go deeper into it, I can answer your questions, but I think you probably like need to actually follow a structured learning program like Terra Learning to be able to actually like go through all these processes one by one, um, do case studies, and from there you can actually like improve your product sense. So the next thing now is the Q&A. So I'm open to questions.
Thank you so much, Howard. That was really fantastic. I mean, I love the illustration of using Netflix as a case study, right? And I would also like to ask a question that I could remember a colleague and I had a debate one time on if a product can be built without a product manager. So I would like you to give an answer to that. Can a product be built without a product manager?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So I mentioned that product management is an art. So what I mean is that in an organization, there might not be a person with the role of a product manager or like a person with a job description that's called a product manager, but the responsibility of product management still falls on someone. So, for example, you see organizations without product managers build digital products, but it's probably because the responsibility of product development falls on maybe like um, the founder of the product, for example, to give strategic direction to that product, to do all this customer validations and everything that actually like involves product management. So product management is a skill, is an art which exists outside of the role. When it comes to like a product manager, what makes a product manager is now someone with a structured learning that will be able to okay, like do that better for the organization and be able to okay, like take that product to market for you. So to answer your question simply, you can build a digital product without a product manager. That's that role, but you cannot build a digital product without someone um, performing the responsibilities of a product manager. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. We have a question in the chat box. Ison asks that, please, how is market research done?
So the thing with market research is that I don't want to answer like a typical product manager. You say it depends. And yeah, it really depends. It depends on the kind of product which you're actually trying to build. But the most important thing is for you to actually answer these kind of questions, which I highlighted in the slides, is that who am I building this product for? Like once you are able to actually like, answer that kind of question, yeah, if you already started the market research. So now how is this done? You need to actually like look at the problem space. So when you look at the problem space, say, oh, like the Netflix example I gave earlier, I'm saying the problem was that they were incurring debt on the repayments, it wasn't convenient for them and everything. So look at people like you, like that have that particular that have that similar problem with you. So once you look at those kind of people, define them. Who are they? Why do they need it? Why do they need this solution? Once you are doing all these things, you are doing market research. And then another way or a more structured way of doing market research is to actually like there's something we call the primary or secondary sources. Go on the internet, look at you can search, say, oh, this particular problem, is there a particular solution for it? How do they currently meet this their need? So all the things you are doing, you're already doing market research. When you collect surveys, you go into like a particular space, a particular demography, you create Google Forms. You say, "Oh, please let me fill this form." I'm trying to like learn about these things. Once you are doing all these things, you're actually doing market research, and then you do this thing. Then you start defining your persona of the people um, that of your customers. Basically, you start creating the profile of these your customers. So all these things are market research. So market research is a very a broad space. You just have to like pick what's for you or what actually like fits the kind of product you're building. So I hope I'm able to actually like answer your question here.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much, Hawa. Already asked the question also, is it possible to build a product that does not have competitors and a similar problem that you want to solve? If yes, what exactly do you need to be sure you are building the right problem?
Okay, yeah. So the first question is that can you build a product that has no competitors? I think the answer is no. And why do I say no? Because um, when you look at competitors, you might probably be looking at, say, okay, let's take Chowdeck, for example. When I ask you who are the competitors of Chowdeck, you'll probably be looking at Glovo, Uber Eats, etc. But those are like competitor on one particular plane. But you have to realize that the people beside you, the roadside food vendors that sell food, the restaurants, the localized restaurants around you, they are also competitors to those people. So as a product manager, you have to be very imaginative and understand that competitors might not exist on the same landscape as you are. You might be the first person bringing out the digital product for that particular problem, but it doesn't mean that those particular customer segments are not solving that problem in another way. So before Child Deck existed, or before any online food delivery app existed in Nigeria, for example, people are eating, people are buying cooked food somehow. So when you are building that particular product, those people are your competitors. Then it depends on your business model to actually even make them your suppliers, etc. Basically. But that's the idea. Sorry, what's the second question, please?
He said, if yes, what exactly do you need to be sure you are building the right problem?
Okay. So the answer is no, actually. But how do you know you're solving the right problem? The way, see, you can build the best product in this world, but the way you build a successful product is when it gets to the hands of the customers which you've defined and they're actually willing to pay for it. That's when you build a successful product. So when you say, how do you know you are building the right thing? The only way to validate if you are building the right thing or not, nobody will tell you that. The people that will tell you that is the customers that you've identified. So you go to them either like having like a better testing session or any other thing that you want to actually like do, take this product to them in any way or format, either organizing user testing sessions or anything. Let them use your product and then let them give you feedback on it. Once they do this, you the feedback you get from them will validate if you actually like building the product for them and if you're actually building a successful product or not.
All right, thank you very much. Olagunju asked, if you have a product that has traction and yet to be profitable, what advice can you give on how to drive such product to profitability?
Okay, I think when if you have a product that has traction, so the first thing is that your product has been validated, so your customers want this. Now, when we go into the issue of profitability, it can depend on a lot of things. Your business model is very, very important at that particular stage. Are you offering a free product and then you have an operational cost which you incur on providing that service to those customers? In that particular situation, you probably need to revisit your business model and say, oh, this thing that I'm offering to people and I've seen traction. Like a lot of people actually do it. A lot of products, even a lot of digital products we have today, they are probably like running at a loss. So they've not um entered profitability. For example, Uber. I don't know about the latest report, but as 2022, Uber was still running at a loss. Jumia was still running at a loss. A lot of businesses still run at a loss, but they have the traction. So it's always in their business model. So what I mean about always in their business model is that they always say, oh, once you actually reach 1 million users, we can then provide this functionality for paid users. So it depends on how you actually structure your business model and then how you actually plan to monetize your product over time. Let's give an example of Elon Musk when he acquired X, for example. When X was not really generating, I don't think X was profitable per Elon Musk, and I don't think it's still profitable now. But the points I'm trying to make is that when Elon Musk came, um, he started looking into like advertising as a way of generating revenue because there's a lot of operational cost that goes into like the product. There are a lot of staff members you have to pay. You have to like cut down on staff. You have to like reduce something. You have to like close their Ghana office. All these things so just like bring down the operational cost. And you actually have to like start partnering with business established businesses to come and advertise on the platform so that they can pay them. Then he introduced like the X, where the premium X, where people actually have to pay for a particular functionality. And so it just depends on your model and how you actually. So this is less more about like your product management and more about your business management, basically.
All right. Thank you so much, Awa. I'm sure you answered all of their questions. Thank you. Steve, would you like to speak because your hand is raised? Okay, so I'm guessing Steve doesn't have a question. And that's currently all the questions that we have in the chat box. Thank you so much, Hawa, for an insightful section. I'm sure not only me, I'm sure everyone thoroughly enjoyed the section and also learned one or two things. Thank you so much, Hawa.
All right, thank you very much for having me.
Also, Chibuke hacks the question in the chat box. How can we get the slide?
Okay, I think I'll share the slides with the organizers and or what's the best way of actually like sharing this? You know what? I'll put it on Google Drive and then I'll share the link in the chat box.
All right. All right. I think that's better. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Hawa.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Our final section for today is on software engineering, and I am sure that